but so that people would eat the pizzas you don't want first, and there'd be more for you at the end. So kind. There might be more. What's your favorite? Okay. We're gonna do it. Hey, hey! I've been told we're live and we're rolling, so we're gonna start the event tonight. My name is Rose. I'll be your MC tonight, and I'll tell you a little bit about how Tales of the Taphouse works if you haven't been here before. But before we dive right into the storytelling piece, I do have some thank yous and some short announcements. So thank you all for being here. Thank you to Madison and the Great Untamed for having us. And thank you to Linda and Divine Eats for donating the Crowbar pizza. Actually, Crowbar donated some of the pizza too, so thanks to everybody that's involved with pizza serving tonight. Yeah. Some quick announcements. Apart from tonight's event, we have some big plans for 2022. So the next Tales of the Taphouse event will be partnered with Pride Fest during Pride Week. And then we've got a big event planned for September, which will be a community-wide story slam competition. So this one has a lot higher stakes than being here tonight. It may or may not be for you, but we definitely encourage everyone to participate. There is no age requirement. There's literally no requirement, so anyone can qualify to sign up to participate. We will have cash prizes and other things for first, second, and third place winners. Stories will be judged, and there'll be some workshops all woven into that. So we'll give you more details about that later, as well as the Pride Fest event. Apart from that, we don't have specific dates or themes. Oh, rewinding. The theme is Generations for Pride Fest, and the theme is, this might change, but it's Slay the Moment for September. And then we are working with Better Wyoming and Wyoming Equality and potentially the Canterbury House. I don't know if they're here, for a few other events. I don't know if that will be 2022 or 2023, but we'll let you know ASAP when we have a date and a theme, because we would love storytellers to sign up well in advance. Me and my team, we have gray hairs from this month's storytellers for waiting so long to sign up. We love you still. We have the event. We didn't cancel, but this was some last minute. We didn't know if we were going to have to cancel, but here we are tonight. And thank you, storytellers. And again, thank you all for being here to support them. Okay. I think that is it. So tonight's theme is Fool Me Once. We need a couple seconds. What? Oh, just live stream stuff? Just the camera, yeah. Okay, I think they're okay. I'll make posts about this. Tonight's theme is Fool Me Once, and how it will work is we'll hear from 2 or 3 storytellers, and then we will take a brief intermission. And we really encourage anyone in the crowd who wants to tell a story about being fooled, acting foolish, or maybe the one doing the fooling. If you want to share a story under tonight's theme, then just where is the bowl? By the pizza. So you got to make your way to the pizza table. There's a pencil, paper, just write your name down, and then we'll do a drawing. And depending on timing and how tonight goes, we may hear 1 or 2 or 3 more stories. I think that's it. Karaoke's at 8. Stick around. Have mead. Support the Great Untamed. And then now I'm going to see if we still need to buy some time, because I do want people tuning into the live stream who can't be here to hear the stories. Are we okay? Or all right.
Yeah, it's just the camera. The audio is working fine.
Audio is working, but no camera. If you want to plug into this, you can. Okay. 1 One second here. Someone sing a song. um,
Yeah, did you turn it off and on? Okay, I said I can't like connect to the camera. Something went wrong on the camera.
I'm curious if we stream it through Facebook. It's just easy to do on a phone. Or we could probably even stream to
I can It was fine beforehand. And as soon as it started, it was like frozen.
Is this on? There are 5 more pizzas, so maybe now is your time to grab a slice while and hang in there, live streamers. We will continue very soon. Should we try? What kind of connector is that? I need to access this tonight, but we've done it to Facebook through a phone before.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with that camera. Something's wrong with it. It's something on my phone. Put them out like this. Good night. Good night.
Maybe set it up on that.
What is?
But seriously, worst case,
Yeah, once I connect to the Wi-Fi really quick, I can use my phone as a camera. Well, we can stay on YouTube since it's already live.
We can?
My camera will just link right to my phone. They used to have an iPhone cable. So they use them. They have everything. Yes, you can.
someone's got to. All right, who here has an iPhone charger? Cable. Someone's got to have one. iPhone charger. No? No one. Someone's got one. Yeah, okay. We're almost back. I might have. I don't have my notebook.
Yeah, I normally have.
into, can you just like pan the room and then I'll use that and we'll be back in 2 minutes?
Like a panoramic? Oh, this really might kill it before. Test 1, 2, 3. Should I tell a joke? Or is there-
I'm doing everything I got. Rose says that she is down to just use somebody's phone to just do the live stream itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Give me like 10 seconds, and then if this doesn't work, then I will give up. But if it does work, I'm not giving
I'm serious, this is true. So anyway, I get up there and I didn't really practice, and I just get up there and I'm like talking about it and I'm so excited. I'm like, this is great. People are gonna think I'm so cool. And I get my grade back and it's a D, and I'm like, oh no, like my first class in college. So I had to retake it, and you know, I think I passed. Obviously, I got a degree. C's and D's get degrees. And so, yeah, I was devastated. And that really, like, that moment really, like, made me never, ever want to talk in public again. And I'd actually get, like, Bernie nose. Do you guys know what Bernie nose? So, yeah, she knows. It's like where your nose gets so burny and you're, like, going to cry in public. That happened to me for years and years and years. And so fast forward about 10 years later, and I'm working like my actual professional job at a credit union in Cheyenne. And if you guys know anything about credit unions, they love to give back to the community. They're very, very good at that. And they do like a ton of events, like a lot of events. So if you need free food, go to a credit union event. And they hosted this one that I really loved. It was called Movies in the Park. And it was down in Broomfield, Colorado. And it's exactly how it sounds. It's movies in a park. And it's really great. It's also a very expensive event. So, of course, the credit union's going to be like, we need to give a speech and tell people why they should join credit unions. And so I usually had help with this. And I actually had a lot of help for events normally. But nobody could help. It was a Saturday in the middle of July. So I basically was all by myself. So I invited my friend Brooklyn, who doesn't work for a credit union. She's a former attorney turned marketer, weird combination, because she's very organized, and I knew she'd keep me in line if like anything got stressful, and she'd help me out. So we had this barbecue, and people were starting to lay out their blankets and have little picnics and stuff, and there's like 500 children running around. I think they were showing the movie Moana. So they were very, very excited. So it's getting dusk, and I knew my time was coming up, and I was like sweating bullets because normally I had a coworker who was gonna do this speech, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm gonna mess up. And I did. Bad. So it's my time. I get up there, and I really think the only way to like have you relive this is to actually like reenact the moment. So, okay. So I'm gonna pretend like I have a microphone here. Okay. All right, hi everybody, welcome to Movies in the Park. My name is Mindy Peep. I'm so glad to have you guys here. We love doing these events. They're so much fun for us, and we just love giving back to our communities. And if you're not a member of the credit union, I want to talk to you a little bit about what that means and some of the differences between credit unions versus banks. Well, credit unions, we love to give back to the community and even give back money to our members. But banks, they're just crooks and steal your money. I said that out loud. I'm sorry if you're a banker. I'm so sorry. Like, or a credit union. I disgrace the industry. So I looked down at Brooklyn, you're Brooklyn for now. I looked down at Brooklyn, and she's just shaking her head. And I was like, oh my gosh. And right at that moment, there is this 30-foot blow-up screen behind me that's run by like generators, you know, the kind like that you use with bouncy houses. The generators go out, and the screen, like my ego and my soul, is just like deflates, and people start booing. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like getting hives thinking about this. So I do what anyone does. I do a Napoleon Dynamite, and I run off the stage. Like, put me out of my misery. I can't do this. So Brooklyn, my wonderful, beautiful, brave, amazing attorney marketing friend, gets up. Somehow she knows something about generators. I don't know. She fixes the generators. The screen comes back up. She grabs the microphone from me. I'm like crying by a tree. And she doesn't even work at the credit union and gives this huge like speech about how great credit unions are, sans the bank part. So that was my fool me twice moment. And hopefully this isn't the fool me thrice moment. You laughed. All right, that's it.
I think tonight gives you a clean slate. Yeah, you're starting fresh now.
So many topics and drugs and like
Through it, Yeah, good job. Thank you, Mindy. Thank you so much. And for someone to sign up having no idea what Tales of the Tap House is 2 days in advance. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So you can too. You can be a Mindy Peep. All right. We're going to do, oh, wait. I want to still encourage people to put their names in the hat. So should we, yeah. We're going to grab the bowl, not a hat. And so if you're feeling the vibes tonight, you want to tell a story, just put your name in there. And we are going to do a third story. Yes? I think so, yeah. We're going to do a third story, and then we'll do some announcements. We might have a fourth storyteller, and then go into the wild card. Okay. But I'll kind of, just so that you don't get disrupted, I'll kind of wait just a minute as Mary Grace kind of, maybe just like pass it like a tithing, you know? Put 10% in while you're at it. I'm asking for money now. I don't know. Killing time. Mindy, get back up here. Tell some jokes.
Yeah, we can mess with it.
No, so we are going to do an intermission because we do have a fourth storyteller. Just like that. Okay? So we'll still pass the bowl. I took my eyes off it. Now I lost it. Don't bring it outside. Keep it indoors. So while people kind of think about signing up, grab another slice of pizza, order some mead, we are going to tell you a little bit more in like 3 minutes. We'll tell you a little bit more about the events coming up, and then we'll continue the storytelling. Okay, great. Do we have music to play? Evan?
I feel like stare at the ground or else I'm staring at people or at the person's butt. Good. I didn't remember the booing. That's rude. Yeah, I didn't All right, Spencer.
I think all you should instead of here, right? Like, I don't think it has to be anything fancy. How does it look?
Yeah, no, I think if I would have played stuff, it's better than honor. This is clockwise, right?
This is clockwise.
I need to rotate this 90 degrees clockwise also. I haven't been fooled twice before, so.
Nobody fools Zach twice. Only once.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. I feel like I got a story of being fooled twice. I'm trying to find you.
Rose. Rose.
I've never been. I'm no fool. I'm no fool. Here's my story.
Oh, you're losing. I hate you.
I'm a blonde, so like.
Cool. Yeah. So I had to.
First time was like scary, the second time I was like, alright, I know what you mean.
So you were cool? You were cool?
I mean, the camera's fine. Yeah, you're right.
Me? Like what? Yeah.
True.
Not twice. I went back.
Yeah.
I was a kid. I was a child. I had no choice. My mom. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Somebody might know this.
My dad even emailed me. You guys
The only way I'm gonna get food tonight is she beats me up, but I don't think that's happening. Like I would put this on the wall.
So this is here.
Yeah. I like February. I like February. And the Super Bowl. On February. You can even like. Huh? Aquaman, right there.
And then how does that look?
Can you turn it? Can you rotate it 90 degrees? Like on the side?
What am I talking about?
That?
I said yes to what you wanted.
So I just gave like a little blurb right now. It's like, hey, this is like a bigger than usual event, which I kind of said, but you only have and then like if you have skill sets, you know how like we were like kind of starting to type up like a model. Yeah. So same day we're it doesn't have to be related to trying to put a story together. It could be like whatever has a part of it. It's just like, you know, get out there. I'm gonna have Lauren go first because it's gonna go. Don't question it. I don't know. It's a surprise to me. So, all right, we're rounding back.
We can make Spencer do it instead.
I think we're recording now. I don't know. Now I'm worried that we're not. I just feel bad for live streamers. I don't know what they're catching and what they're not. So I'll just make posts about this. Yeah, but Evan just walked away. Evan! I'm standing right. Someone at the bar, can you ask Evan if we are live? Can you ask Evan Mora if we're live right now? We are? We think we are. So in case people are tuning in, yes, we are. Sorry. Hello. We're going to keep rolling. So Lauren's going to tell you a little bit more about the Pride Fest event in June, and then Sydney's going to tell you a little bit more about the about the event in September. Okay.
And the email is tales@the@gmail.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, thank
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren. I just wanted to let you know that the next Tales event is going to be during Pride Fest. So June 22nd, Tuesday of Pride. The location is going to be at the train depot, and the theme is going to be generations. So the idea of sharing queer identity across the different generations. And then shout out to Laramie Pride Fest. Thank you for letting Tales be a part of Pride. And then also, Pride Fest will last from the 19th through the 26th of June. So follow Laramie Pride Fest for any event details.
Hello, my name is Sydney. I'm just going to talk really quickly about an event coming up in September, and then you're going to hear more from me later. So the September event is going to be a story slam, which is super exciting. If you're interested in telling a story, there will be opportunities for that, just like at normal Tales of the Tap. But this is actually like a super beefed up event because we're going to have a bunch of workshops in the week leading up to the story slam. So you can actually take workshops from different experts, whether you want to beef up a story for that event or just learn to write a story in general. We want you to participate. On the flip side, if you're someone who's great at telling stories, we'd love to have you do a workshop. So please reach out to us. Keep a lookout for more information because we're going to have more. We just want to start getting the word out. Am I missing anything?
I think so. Spencer, can you see what we're missing?
And Spencer's going to take over.
Hi guys, that was really loud. I have something I want to say right quick. So Ammon right there, looking at his phone. Why are you cheering? I'm just like, I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to talk about him, and you guys started clapping. Can you guys clap for me? Don't do that. Stop. All right, so Ammon, please stop. What I wanted to say is Ammon's my favorite storyteller that I've ever seen at Tales at the Tap. So you better bring it to the event, to the slam, because I'm going to be there to beat him. That's all I'm saying. And I wanted to make it interesting, so Ammon, whoever does the best, I want to, the loser will owe the other person one chicken sandwich. And that's why I asked you that question earlier. All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Does the winner pick where the chicken sandwich comes from, Spencer? Or does the loser? Who picks where the chicken sandwich is coming from? The loser has to make the chicken sandwich. Make? Oh. Then count me in. I want to be a part of this competition. All right. Okay. look for more posters. I swear there'll be posters this time. And post on social media for call for workshop leaders and the people who will be leading the workshops the week leading up to the event will also sit as judges. So they will have their own rubrics to score the stories, right? So we don't do that here. So that's why anyone can tell a story tonight. Don't be, don't be terrified. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to bring Sydney back up because Sydney is a Tails volunteer and she also works for Safe Project, and we've done a lot of partnerships with Safe, so you've probably seen her face plastered all over Tails at the Taphouse. But this is the first time she's taken the mic as a storyteller, so this is very exciting. Sydney has lived in Laramie for nearly 10 years. 5 on Vic, and is planning to leave before hitting that milestone. Now it's competition. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Vic. Okay, yes. She loves reading, collecting vintage clothing, and watching Game of Thrones. Her greatest accomplishment is winning biggest goofball in high school.
Thank you so much for reading that bio I wrote. So the theme was biggest goofball, so I decided to write a very serious essay about Game of Thrones. I'm sorry, the theme was fool. And there we go. I had some mead. Has anyone here watched Game of Thrones? Oh, okay, great, okay. Great, one of the best shows ever, okay. Weird. Okay, we're going to talk about... I'm reeling it in with a joke. When I first watched Game of Thrones, I thought Sansa Stark is a damn fool. So, connecting to the theme. There we go. In truth, I identified with Sansa, whose goals were similar to mine as a child. I wanted to wear cute clothes. I wanted to live somewhere warm. I grew up in Chicago. I wanted to find love, and I wanted to gain financial security by marrying rich. Seeing my own childhood desires in this television character made me look down on her, even though she herself was still a child. Growing up, there was a side of me that internalized the message, I don't need boys, and in fact, I don't need to depend on anyone, which we are all familiar with the pull up by your bootstraps method, right? Yeah, right? Probably not great. As I grew into a feminist, I connected that message with feminism. By trying to shirk traditional gender roles and see romance as unimportant, I was a true feminist. But this message warred with the side of me that also internalized that as a girl, I should be more concerned with finding love and getting swept off my feet by a boy, which is problematic for a lot of reasons, one of them being it's very heteronormative. These messages directly conflicted, often resulting in me hurting my own feelings. I was very quick to gain crushes, very intense, but I was also terrible at flirting, which has not changed. And these two internalized messages made me frustrated with myself whenever I was heartbroken over a boy or upset that a boy didn't want me. More than once, I developed strong crushes on the cute boys in my class, and I did what all teen movies told me to do, and I didn't talk to them. I would just hope that serendipitously, this boy would realize that in fact, I am not only the prettiest girl in school, but I'm also the smartest, the funniest, the best at conversation, and maybe if they gave me alcohol, I would be great at drinking it. But unfortunately, that never happened, and I was always really upset when no one swept me off my feet. I had no idea what I was doing wrong. I just followed the rules about how girls were supposed to act. So for those of you who haven't watched Game of Thrones, Sansa Stark starts her journey by heading south with dreams of marrying Prince Joffrey, but he turns out to be the epitome of men are trash. After beheading her father, Joffrey makes Sansa look at his severed head on the castle wall. This is a trigger warning, Game of Thrones spoilers. Okay. So Sansa is forced to live with Joffrey after he discards her for another woman. And despite Sansa's initial relief that he has discarded her like a piece of garbage, he continues to humiliate and assault her. Thanks, Spencer. Once Joffrey is finally brutally assassinated, Sansa does manage to escape, but it's an out of the frying pan and into the fire situation. She leaves with a man, Littlefinger, who once loved her mother, and turns that love to Sansa. Yikes. So at this point, Sansa starts to realize that maybe men won't give her the future she wants. Her father was loving and kind, but the men who surround her now are scary and just want to take advantage of her. While certainly not the level of horror that Sansa experienced, the horror of my many failed crushes made me realize early on that daydreaming about boys wasn't helpful. And I later learned dreaming about girls also wasn't helpful. This contributed to the idea that I shouldn't value love, but I continued having crushes. Has anyone else been there? Frustrating. At one point, I asked my mom, is it normal to like boys? And she told me there was nothing wrong with me, but that didn't quite soothe the hurt I was feeling. Finally, mid-high school, I roped in my first boyfriend. With all of that internalized hope to capture the attention of a boy, I was so excited. But I also felt that it was stupid and girly to find romance important, and that made me really confused. I was excited but nervous, I was tentative but needy, I was unsure, and I was obsessed. The side of me that wanted to be in a rom-com was competing with the side of me that thought I was above such ridiculous fantasies. Speaking of fantasy, Littlefinger marries Sansa off to Ramsay Bolton, who may be worse than Prince Joffrey. Ramsay Bolton has taken over Sansa's childhood castle, Winterfell, where he hunts people with his dogs and then skins them alive. Sansa is back home in Winterfell again, but once again she's trapped with a sadistic man. She waits to make her move, finally escaping the castle with an old friend. She then skillfully leverages her relationship with Littlefinger, using his army to defeat Ramsay. It's so awesome. Sansa returns to the castle and feeds Ramsay to his own dogs. The poetic justice is, nodding. The poetic justice is beautiful, and this marks the point when we realize that Sansa is in fact a fully capable leader. She's bringing people together, she's leveraging resources, she's building lasting relationships, and she is pulling off some boss executions. She takes over as figurehead of Winterfell temporarily and completes her growth when she orders Littlefinger's death, which is honestly a moment relief for everyone. Sansa becomes queen of the... Oh no. Yeah, that's right. I'm like scrolling. Sansa becomes queen of the North, fully circling back to her original goals, but now she's a vastly different tone. Sansa leaves home once again only after her enemies have been defeated. She's tied to the land she now rules and fights for its independence, symbolizing her own safety. At this point, it's impossible to think Sansa is a fool. The naive girl has fought for and gained independence for her country, and she's become its leader after a long road of trial and error. Each time that she fails or someone forces her to fail, she becomes smarter and more competent. At Littlefinger's execution, she tells him, "I'm a slow learner. It's true, but I do learn." Throughout Sansa's entire arc, she maintains her femininity, not only by becoming a queen, but by other measures, such as wearing some of the most incredible outfits in the whole show. We often see that women are portrayed as powerful only when they're great fighters, Katniss, Katara, Mulan. Along this vein, people always compare Sansa to her sister, Arya, who is also excellent. She's a feisty girl with a knack for fighting from the first. Sansa was a child when she left home the first time, and not long after, she threw her family under the bus to assure her own safety. Arya never wavered in her loyalty to her family, but she also never had to make such choices. I think the comparison between Arya and Sansa is like apples to dragons. Arya making different choices as a child doesn't mean that Sansa can't make mistakes and grow herself. I think it's harder to like Sansa initially because she embodies the femininity that so many of us are told is weak and stupid. But Sansa proves herself powerful as well as traditionally feminine. And while her goal to become queen remains the same, her approach and her motivation change completely. After a few starts and stops with different crushes, I realized there was nothing wrong with hopes for a great romance. Luckily, I found one, and I've now been with my amazing partner for 4 years. For those of you who know Max, you can attest that he is indeed the greatest man alive, trademark. Max is supportive, kind, and also a feminist, which is very sexy. I'm really grateful to him for loving me even through my contradictions. A part of me used to feel like I was not being very feminist because I really value our relationship, but I now realize that that's foolish. Max doesn't complete me, but he compliments me. Like, I think that's a math triangle thing. Thank you, nodding. He enhances and enriches my life, bringing out the best in who I am. It's not silly to love him, although sometimes it does take some effort. I'm moving to New York City in a few weeks for a new job. And while I'm so excited, I am devastated to leave my partner behind. I always joke that he moved in with me after the 3rd date. And it will be so hard not coming home to him or getting a hug after a long day. I'm still choosing my own dreams over my relationship, but I've also accepted that maybe at some point that will change in the future. While I will always have my own goals and ideas, I think in a few years I'll be ready to make significant sacrifices for my partner. I'm no longer concerned that doing so will make me less of a feminist or less of an independent person. Even though Sansa finds herself and not a partner, watching her made me realize that I can embrace the things about myself that fall under the category of traditional femininity, and I can still retain my agency. Sansa made me realize that I was being the fool in seeing a narrow view of what it means to be a powerful woman. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. Come back September for the slam. That's so great. God, loved it. Love you, Max, too. Power couple. Hannah. Oh, what's your last name? Sharpson. Okay, we've got Hannah Sharpson. So Hannah is also a reason why I've got a little more gray hair. Signing up pretty last second here. So, but we'll take you up until this moment. So just know that. We'll say yes to every storyteller who wants to share. Okay, so meet Hannah.
Hi. I absolutely called Rose yesterday and was just interested about this event because I have never been. I had no idea what it was for. I could infer, but I signed up very flippantly, and I texted her at 8 a.m. this morning on 4 hours of sleep because I was so anxious about it and told her that I could not do it. And then Mindy came in, having only signed up 2 days ago, and I thought to myself, well, what is my excuse? So, incredible story, by the way, Mindy. And I also have the benefit of, I realized as I was sitting down with my friend Charlie and we were talking, the theme being fool me once, if I royally fuck this up, I've already fulfilled the theme. So not much to lose. So my story begins my freshman year of college, actually the first day. And I was walking around campus and, going to different offices. I was an RA at the community college that I went to, and also very introverted and antisocial and didn't know very many people. And I was still, I think trying to figure out where I was going to be and, kind of trying to reinvent myself as just a person, graduating high school. And nerves are a killer. Jesus. Okay. Hold on. I think this is a good opportunity. I'm going to back up. So funny thing about me is I have terrible social anxiety, but I'm also a social worker. And I talk in front of people all the time, but it just, I never, so that's part of my bio, and I just, the nerves never leave, but I think that's something that everyone can relate to, speaking in front of people. But cool. So anyway, where were we? Freshman year of college, first day of school, and I am walking around trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, where I need to be, and filling out tons and tons of paperwork, and FAFSA is still to this day the bane of my existence. But I was walking into the library to fill out yet more paperwork for something that I needed to do. And it was probably the weirdest, most exciting storybook romance thing that I've ever had happen to me, even to this day. But I walked through the doorway and I was just kind of coming through and I looked up, and from way across the room, I locked eyes with somebody. And I looked at them. Thank you for being this person that I'm describing. You got me. Thank you. Yeah, I need putting myself back in the moment. So I locked eyes with this person and they locked eyes with me, and it was as close to as what I can imagine love at first sight feels like. And I, being my awkward introverted self, it just like forced my head down, and it took me about 20 seconds of like walking across the room and sitting down and like shuffling through my things to be like, what the fuck just happened to me? And I sat there and, kind of in line with the story that Sydney just told, a very big part of my life was this perception of, finding the person, the one, and having that kind of experience. And I just realized that I just had that fucking experience, and it was really, really, really intense. And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, like, what just happened? But of course I don't want to look desperate, and I don't want to make it too obvious, and I want to seem mysterious and cool. And so I don't look immediately at who it was, or, whether or not they're still there. And a few minutes pass and I look up, over at where they were sitting, and they're gone. And I'm really disappointed because I was really hoping to maybe talk to them, or that they'd be looking at me, or like whatever, and, I think to myself, like, okay, no big deal. And I just go back to what I'm doing, and I stand up and I go to leave. But I'm still really disappointed, and I'm like, my heart's kind of on the floor. I'm like, man, it could have been like so romantic. It would have been so cool. And all of a sudden I'm about, from me to you from the door to leave this building to go get some food. And all of a sudden I hear footsteps behind me. Like somebody is like sprinting behind me, and I'm like, do I turn around? Like what? And so instinctually what I do is I reach out and I push open the door and I stand out of the way, because I don't know, why they're running. And, because what else would one do in that situation? And I turn around and it's him. And again, we lock eyes, and I will never forget, he was wearing this purple beanie, and it had like, the top was like purple, and it like faded kind of into pink and then into gray, and he was wearing super hipster vibes. It was great. I was really into it. He had like a messenger bag and like a vest over like a button-up shirt and like these ripped jeans and Converses. And he looks at me and I look at him and I'm like, hi. And he says, hi there. And at this point, I feel like the conversation is kind of implied, but I don't really know where to go from here. So I say, okay. And he says, okay. And I say, okay. He's like, okay. And I'm like, did you need something? And he says, no, I just, I'm sorry. I saw you in the library and I just couldn't let you leave without telling you how beautiful you are. And I fucking melt. Like immediately I'm like, the man of my dreams. And I look at him and I'm like, well, that's, you're very sweet. Thank you. And he's like, you're welcome. I'm like, okay, do you like, did you want my number? And he was like, sure, yeah, I'd love your number, absolutely. And I go to give it to him, and he's like, well, actually, my phone's dead. And I'm like, okay, well, I can, like, tell it to you. Do you have something to write with? And he's like, I don't, but I'll remember it. I'll remember it, I swear. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So I give it to him, and I realized that day, because I'm a broke college student, right, with a prepaid cell phone, I do not currently have phone service. And whenever I was getting texts at this point, they were coming through, but they weren't showing who it was. And so I realized about 5 minutes into this that he texted me, and I couldn't respond. And so I think to myself, like, oh, it's a small campus. Hopefully I'll see him again. But I'm terrified that I'll never meet this person again. And I just had this, like, wonderful experience, and he disappears. And I eat my food, and I'm sad, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm thinking, like, there's a little, like, yeah, I'm very sad. So big sad boy hours. Yeah, it's a very traumatic experience. And I'm sitting there, and I'm next to this, like, kind of, coffee kiosk in this cafeteria, and I'm, smell the coffee, and it's, like, really distinct memory for me. And I eat my food, and I get my things, and I'm ready to go. And across this, like, walkway, I fucking see this purple beanie. And I cannot express to you the feeling that I got, but instinctually, without even thinking about it, I'm like mid-sprint running down this walkway, chasing this boy down, and I finally get to him, and I tap him on the shoulder, and he flips around, and he goes, oh, hi there. I'm like, hi, and I kind of, explain what happened, and from there, I'm not really sure what happened from there. We ended up outside, and we were sitting next to this fountain, and he told me about this band that he really liked, and I remember he smoked Camel Royal cigarettes, and he taught me what a Lucky cigarette was, and he always flipped the second one to the left upside down. And that one, anytime you smoke that cigarette, a good thing is supposed to happen. And so we're laying in the grass, and he's playing these songs for me. And if anybody that's close to me knows that I fucking hate sunlight, I hate heat. So I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah, I'm very dark and mysterious. Obviously, it's the whole point of my story. So I hate the sun, but for whatever reason, on that particular afternoon, it was just perfect weather. And we're just laying in the grass listening to music, and he's smoking cigarettes. And we go to a different part of the building, and there's practice rooms for, different instruments. And he plays songs on the piano and tells me that he knows how to play the guitar. And he's just, everything that I dreamed about, everything that you think about in rom-coms. And we keep hanging out, and I don't give a fuck about school anymore. I just really, really adore this person, because the first time, I think, probably in my entire life, I feel like I found my best friend, and also the person that I'm convinced at 18, right, because that always works out, like who you're going to marry, and had it all worked out, right? We'd have a Nightmare Before Christmas themed wedding, and we'd all wear black, and it'd be really, really cool. And so we keep hanging out, and around this time, my birthday's always at the start of every school year, and his was exactly a month after mine, and I thought that was really cool. And so by this time, we've been hanging out for weeks, and he's been coming to my dorm room, and he's been taking me on car rides late at night, and we're listening to music, and it's fucking perfect. Like, I can't imagine a more story-worthy romance. And one particular night, we're sitting outside of his house, and he's getting ready to take me home to the dorms, and we're listening to music, and he's telling me about this song that I actually think is really terrible, but I'm like barely a person at this point, and I'm head over heels with this guy, so I'm like, yeah, this is amazing, it's really cool. And his phone rings, and he grabs it, and he says, oh shit, okay, this is my roommate, I gotta go. And at this time, right, like, I've been coming over at night to hang out with him, but never during the day. And he grabs his phone, he gets out of the car, and the music is still kind of playing, and the wind's blowing really hard. But for whatever reason, even with that, I realized that the window is cracked on his side just a little bit. And I hear him answer the phone, and he says, hey, yeah, baby, I'm out with some friends right now. I thought you had to work. Sorry, yeah, I'll be home soon. And he gets back in the car, and he just keeps talking about the music. And I sit on this for a few days, and I think about it. And I invite him to lunch, and we eat lunch together, and I can't eat anything. And he asked me what's wrong. And I think this was the moment that I found just how fucking fiery I can be, and just how much I don't shy away from confrontation, because I lay it all out for him, and I tell him exactly what I think of him, and I demand an explanation. And he comes clean, and he tells me that he has been living with his girlfriend the entire time we've been dating. And not only that, the car that he's been picking me up and driving me around in, and we've literally had sex in the backseat of, is his girlfriend's. Yeah. So we have a conversation, and he tells me that he's going to ask her to move out, and he does. And months go on, and I think we both really, really, really just wanted it to be the same. But it never was. And so I decide that I need to move on. And I leave Riverton, and I move here. And it's been about 2 years since I've seen him in person, and about a year since we've talked. And he messages me one night while I'm with somebody else that I'm dating. And I look at my phone, and I just see a message that says, hi there. And I think about responding, but I sit on it for a moment, and I think about it, and I don't. But I decide that I need to be by myself, and so I leave, and I go to a coffee shop downtown, and I have a cup of coffee by myself, and I remember just sitting there, and it reminds me of the moment that I thought that I would never see this person again, when I was sitting in the cafeteria and just smelling the coffee, and I realize, I think I'm going to be okay. I think it's going to be fine. Yeah, I think that's the end.
Thank you, Hannah. Seriously, thank you so much. And Sydney, and Vic, and Mindy. Let's give a round of applause to our storytellers again. coming back from that one. Jeez. I don't know if I can say this without screwing it up, but my thoughts right now are like, fool me once, fool me twice, but there's never no shame, right? Right? That's right. And men are trash. Okay, so we are going to find the bowl. We're not done yet. We're going to do another, what? Oh. But I feel like someone else should. Is that a? Will you help me out here? Yeah. What's your name? Zach is gonna help. Oh, you wanna? Yeah. Wait. Because okay, sometimes we get like a last name or two to do a little walk. But I don't have any announcements, so I don't know how to kill the time here.
Yeah. Karaoke.
Yeah. My favorite poem. Oh God, do I have to recite it? I'm sweaty now. I could put someone on the spot, but I don't know. I would love for someone to talk about what it's like to sign up and go through the process and be a storyteller. I'm looking at one person who did it. I don't know, because it's really not that scary. You want to tell? So Autumn is going to tell you what it's like because, like Hannah, a lot of people do get really nervous about being up here, but overall, a lot of people who have been to an event they realize that the audience is so supportive. There's a lot of magic happening in the room, and we laugh and we cry, and overall, we're just supported through and through. And so, on the spot here, Autumn's going to tell you what it's like to just like see or hear about the theme and think of a story and then pull the trigger and sign up. So thanks. Oh, she's already back.
I know. Well, and so I did my story. It was years ago now.
I feel like it was April, like 3 years ago.
Yeah. So I was super pregnant at the time. Yeah, like out to here. So that was fun doing in a bar, but. Yeah, and I was really sweaty for a lot of reasons, but standing in front of a bunch of people and telling a story about myself, completely sober, was hard too. But yeah, I've been to almost all of the story telling, and I think it's super impressive too that these people come up and only have like a day or two or just in the moment. Just because I think every single story kind of resonates with everybody differently and. Just kind of reaches everybody in a different way. And so I think it's really special that you can kind of share a different part of you that you might not think is that special or might not resonate with certain people a certain way, and you just don't realize that it goes a long way and it kind of means a lot. And yeah, it's really fun to meet people at these events. So, I came alone, and it's just so fun to meet different people and hear their stories and see their kind of different walks. So I encourage everybody to tell a story because it's really fun. I didn't think that I would, but just kind of knowing Rose, and she really pumped me up for that. So, but I'm really glad that I did. And I still tell people about it. I'm like, it was a really great experience, and maybe I'll do another one, but it's really fun to just meet people and hear everybody's stories. So thank you, everyone.
Now you can drum roll.
No, you have to pick it. I can't do it. Where's Zach?
You have to read it.
Sorry. Okay. Rachel, and I don't know if that's K-N, but K-N-A-F-F. Woo!
She bolted.
She's getting her props. Was that Rachel? All right. Cool.
That would have been a really pro move if you're like, I got drawn, I'm leaving.
Hello. So I can just tell any story, any tale.
ideally, if you could twist it to be, you know, of the fool me once.
Fool me once. Okay.
You got it?
Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Fool me once. What does that mean?
Interpret however you want. It's vague.
Give me. All right, we're gonna give Rachel 2 minutes to think up her story. We're gonna do one in the middle. We're gonna do one storyteller, then Rachel.
Okay.
Okay, Rachel's gonna think.
Thank you. Can I leave my bag up here? Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna grab some water.
The person who we thought was Rachel, do you want to come up and share a story? All right. Charlie.
All right, anybody else in their final semester of school? No? Just me? Because I'm running on cold brew right now and a glass and a half of mead. And I also wrote this the other day because I saw that milk and honey was banned in Texas. And I was inspired to write poetry again. I haven't written poetry in years. And I haven't ever read my poetry to anybody. So you guys are my trial run group, and if it doesn't go well... All right, so to start out with, have you ever, anybody in the crowd, ever had a never spoken love? The kind of love that lasted in the shadows for years, even maybe now. I'm not talking about unrequited love. I'm talking about the love you both know you have, but you never say it. I was a fool once, and so were you. In my attempt to read poetry out loud for the first time, I'm going to name the parts of my poetry. 5 parts. Part 1. Fools at first. Soft brown curls, dimples. I straddle the hot seat and relax into the first shirtless boy I'll never forget. My hands fill around your abs and tighten as we pull away from your mother's driveway. My fingers move slowly, intentionally. For a long moment, time suspends, and I feel I am already within you. Hands that are always warm and arms that are always safe. But safe for who? For who you choose to pull into the darkness and the light that is you. The brightest sun, with ridges that cut and holes that swallow. Swallow who? You. You should know that you are safe. Sun, you still burn against my skin. Part 2. Fools we are. Your best friend. Were his hands betrayal on my hips? Did he know your feelings for me? She knew mine for you. A best friend that betrays, has a thorn in her heart that she can't seem to pull. It's okay. My spine still new and malleable, I let her seep into your thoughts and direct them away from me. There was no fight. I moved on. I look away, past her, past you, to him. Part 3. Fools we want to be. Bar smoke and dim lights. I lean in and you notice. My hair falls across your shoulder. I'm laughing at every inch of you that I want to know, I can't wait to hold. With your eyes lazy on me and your smile alive, I know we might. Just kiss. Just once. Maybe finally forever. Your hands slide across my hip and hold me close like you know we belong, just like that, in just that way. Soon it will end, like always, another ghost from the past, and we are just out of reach. But for now, I hold the thought, and you drive. Part 4. Fools before the end. wrapped in the absence of my wishes come true, or the absence of my wishes come true. Hallway gray, light orange, spilling early into the cold air. I lie to myself and kiss you on the cheek. I remember my father's work boots as you slide into yours and submit to the morning. I was dreaming. We never kissed. Part 5. Fools After. I seek you out, pull you from the noise, into the still night. We sit, dusted in disappointment. I demand an explanation. Why? Shards of glass in your eyes reflect the yellow porch light. I know you fear your own hands. Open to me, I beg. Feel into me. I am still ugly, he says. I say. Your hands are afraid, so is my ego. The stars tell us the truth, and the moon forgives what will come. She knows. I don't. It will be all right tomorrow, but tonight and tomorrow aren't for us. Done and undestined, the truth. We are fools. Thank you.
Charlie, thank you so much. That was beautiful. I think we are going to do one more. Rachel, you ready?
Yeah,
cool.
I can do it.
Rachel could do it. Now she knows the assignment.
I understand.
Will you stand up? I'm going to have Dr. Kilwine stand up, just so, again, you can find Tess after the event if you would like to speak with Tess. Thank you. Oh, more volunteers. Great. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, and now we will hear from our last wild card of the night, Rachel.
Sweet. Thank you. So I got the assignment, as it was said. And I began asking my friends, I'm like, okay, so what do I need to do? And they're like, well, talk about a time you've been bamboozled, or you bamboozled someone. And I'm like, well, we know the latter has never happened. I'm an open book. But maybe it was all the talk of Molly earlier, but I'm someone who has participated in and partakes in rave culture, as one does if you're from northern Colorado. And so, how do I say this without being self-incriminating? There was once that I took 2 tabs of acid and had 5 edibles in Minecraft. At this wonderful rave. And at the beginning of the night, it's fantastic, right? I mean, you can't go wrong with that sort of combination. So I'm enjoying myself, and then all of a sudden I start to feel hyper aware of every sensation in my body. I get the sense that I'm drowning. It's pretty horrifying, to say the least. But we make it through it. I lay down for a sec. I just find a corner. I'm sure it was like very disturbing for the staff there to see, just like someone be like, like trying to find our friends and then go lay down, like whatever. But I get up, and this is obviously I'm a fool, right? I've been a fool. I get up and I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to puke. So I go and I walk over to the, garbage bags, whatever, where the troughs. It's so like vague in my mind because it just stumbles over there. It's horrifying. And I make my way over there and I'm doing my thing. I'm really not vomiting because there's literally nothing in me. If any of you guys have been to any sort of music fest, like you survive on like, I don't know, 2 chicken strips and a Powerade or something for the entire weekend. So there's nothing coming out of me and I'm just staring. I'm like, when will this nightmare be over? And I look to my right and there's a gentleman who I don't know where he is, but not of this world. And he immediately throws up in the trash can. And then continues. This is a trauma dumping moment. I'm sharing with you a very vulnerable and traumatic thing I experienced. So get ready, strap in. This man throws up. Looks into the garbage. And like he's the typical pashmina, the dreads, the guy. You know him. Free hugs. He looks into this garbage can and he just takes his palm and just starts having a ball. And at this point, I'm like, I'm sober. Like, there was nothing more sobering than that moment. I get up, I look at my friend, and I say, I think I'm ready to watch the rest of the music here tonight. But yes, that's a story of me being a fool once, but not being the biggest fool there.
Rachel figured it out. A+, Rachel, on that assignment. You killed it. Oh my God. Okay, we're gonna kind of keep clapping for all of our storytellers. Thank you. I can't find you all, but thank you so much. And I'm just wrapping up with the thank yous. We're calling it a night so we can move on to the Great Untamed's next event, which is karaoke. Very similar. Put yourself up here singing songs, different form of storytelling. But thank you to my volunteers too, Anita, Lauren, Sydney, Spencer, Evan. I'm forgetting one more, I think. Oh God. Thank you. I love you, whoever you are, wherever you are. But thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone. Come out for Pride Fest, the next one, June 12th, 21st. Reverse those numbers. Come out. We'll have a great time, I promise. Thanks, guys.